We're gonna walk into frame.
Okay,
Oi.
remember your plane.
What the f was that? Guys, did I sit on some
No, it was just the dent. Like, it was like the metal acting thingy.
That was a great way to start. I'm getting punched on the first minute.
That's really funny. My bad. My apologies.
It's a good way to start. I mean, like, welcome on all angles. Welcome. I don't know what this is yet, but it's going to be, I think, more so like a series of conversations with Baret students from all across the world. And Maria is going to be our first person, so hello.
Hello. Salam. This is the trial
It has
run.
the art, it has the people, it has...
It's a nice blend of like old and new together.
No, it is.
very
And I
special.
think that really is like what Paris is.
It is.
It's some, I don't know, it's been a very nice couple weeks. So I guess for starters, this is your first time in Paris.
No, it's not my first time in Paris. I'm from Morocco, and we were colonized by the French, so we've had like heavy French influence, which has its negatives, but it also has a lot of positives, like being able to speak the language, understanding the culture. So this is not my first time in Paris. I have been before, and as much as my dad hates this, I love this city so much. I love it.
It is. It's so accessible too. I think it's one of the first things I've realized.
And I think one of the most important parts of a city is like how you can get around the city.
Yeah.
And being able to be in a city where you can get everywhere. It reminds me of New York in that sense.
Totally.
Like you can just hop on the metro.
Oh, no, it's okay.
That's fine.
The more the merrier.
Which is nice because you can explore the city. Like you don't. There are cities where I feel like you go there, you only see a little part of it, and like you leave not feeling like you know the city enough. Paris, I think, is very easy to get used to, get your like kind of senses. Like coming back here, it's like I feel like I know where I'm going for the most part.
And you have family here.
I do. They like it's cousins and stuff who came here for school, which is another interesting thing. Where like.
There is that, I have seen this trend though of a lot of Moroccans like that have, like I was talking to a couple other Baret scholars and like I think it's very interesting, like I think when you talk about like colonization and we're in this conversation of like, also it's Thanksgiving.
It is Thanksgiving. Colonization, it's very important today.
It's the day of colonization. but it is, I think it's a really important conversation to have, like talking about like, I don't know, like what colonization looks like in like the 21st century. Yeah. Because I think it's everywhere. I mean, you can't unrun it.
Growing up, I always had kind of like a vendetta against French people.
Interesting.
You know, and it was just because growing up, you learn like about all the things, North Africans in particular. Like I'm going to talk about like the North African and Moroccan perspective because I cannot speak for others. Yeah. But France has had a big influence in Africa in general. But like, I know a lot of people learn about like Algeria in regards to, you know, the French and French colonization. And in a sense, it made Morocco's time being colonized kind of like, it was undermining in a sense, which is very unfortunate just because for us, you still see the French influence today. Yeah. Like, I live in a neighborhood in Marrakesh that's seen as like kind of like French buildings and stuff, but it's not French buildings. It's just like but it was like the new part of town is what it is. And it's very difficult navigating an identity, knowing that like we speak French in Morocco. It's not something we ever got rid of. Yeah. It's even there are words in Darija, which is like the language we mainly speak, that are from French words and whatnot. It's like we've had this like heavy influence, and like because of that, people have the opportunity to study outside of Morocco. Yeah, which is you can come to France for an education. Is it difficult? Yes, because you still need a visa. It's not like
of course.
It's difficult to come here, but once you come here, there's a sense of community. There's a sense of like feeling almost at home. Like everywhere I go, there's Moroccans.
Well, so
like,
you know this city, girl.
Right now, I'm literally like, I can just tell there are literally 2 Moroccans walking our way. And it's like wherever I go, I see my people, I feel them. Here, as much as I'm supposed to dislike it and feel uncomfortable, I don't. I love it and I feel very comfortable and I feel very at home. And I know there's like a lot of stereotypes about French people, and it's odd because those stereotypes are very present in Morocco. But when I come to France, that's not
It's not your immediate.
No, and
thought.
it's not the people I'm interacting here don't fit the stereotype.
The thing is like coming from, I think Brazil, especially like that, like we were talking about this earlier, but like there was a lot of, I guess, like biases, like talking about today, we had biases.
Yeah.
We had a whole thing on morning program this morning, for those who don't know, about like biases and like unconscious biases and what that looks like.
There's kind of a saying we say that there's a tunnel that goes under the Atlantic from Morocco to Brazil.
That's very
And it's
interesting.
because besides like terrain and whatnot, like we don't have the rainforest in Morocco, but we do have the kind of diversity of like the coast, the mountains, whatever.
Yeah.
We have a big like football, soccer culture in Morocco, similar to Brazil, but most of all, it's the people. We have such a diverse range of people that identify as Moroccan, and it's very similar to Brazil. That's the place I felt most at home outside of Morocco.
Do you think, like, I mean, so far we've been in New York for the past, we were in New York for 3 weeks, you went to New Orleans, and then we did Sao Paulo, you went to
New
Rio?
Hampshire.
Oh yeah, New Hampshire too, can't forget. Do you consider, I guess, like where do you consider out of the places we've been, like most, I guess, where do you feel most connected to? Or like where have you
Rio.
felt most comfortable?
Rio, other than the fact that they have like the beach,
Yeah.
reminds me so much of Marrakesh, my hometown.
That's so cool.
It's very fun.
Yeah.
Like everyone's like singing and dancing all the
Everyone
time.
is so nice.
Everyone is so nice.
Yeah.
And also like, I think Rio compared to Sao Paulo, which at the end of Sao Paulo I was crying. I did not want to leave.
Yeah.
But Rio is a lot more accessible in my opinion for tourists. In a lot of languages there are sayings and stuff that you cannot translate.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's the only way I can express what I'm feeling in that moment, so I say it, but then I realize like, no, people around me don't necessarily understand it.
And that's not a bad thing.
You know, it's not a bad thing
It's a
because
good thing to have something that you can connect with that is yours to connect with.
it's like the other day when the guy was talking about like Greenland and whatever, and
Yeah.
he said
He was incredible.
He was
I
insane.
loved him.
I'm like,
shout out. I genuinely like
I'm
please
gonna
come
come
back
to Greenland
Maria.
one day. I'm going to go to Greenland one day.
I'm gonna insert a picture because genuinely, like he was the nicest guy ever.
And he was so funny.
Yeah.
But you see, he was French. And this is the thing.
Which it was crazy.
And that's the thing. It's like the stereotype you have in your head, he's the complete opposite.
Totally.
Because for me, what really like made me realize like, wow, like he's about to like, for a lot of like Arabs especially, like kind of like show that he's not what you would assume he is, is when he was telling us the word for like maybe not kind of, you know, he was like, oh, people in Greenland are like, let's go fishing tomorrow, and there was this word that they would say, and then he was like, oh, it's like inshallah, which is what we say.
Yeah, and I remember.
And I was just like,
around.
like Rakana and I were just so shocked, like we were like, wow, like, and the fact that he could make that connection, and like people in Greenland have a similar word to us, like all over like the Middle East and North Africa, and so I was just like, wow, like we really are just connected. You just have to find a way to verbalize or communicate that connection
and that commonality.
Exactly, like that really like marked me.
No, I agree totally. And I think the thing is like, so you've lived in Morocco, you've lived where else? Dubai, Michigan.
Yeah.
And where else?
That's it.
But and I think the thing is like, if you think about that like from a global perspective, those are all like totally different places.
They
like
are.
culturally too.
But even like, this is the thing, is a lot of people are like, oh, Dubai's not going to be a big shift, like you're still in an Arab country, which Morocco is not fully an Arab country. There's the Amazigh. But it was like, for me, that was the biggest jump, was from Morocco to the United Arab Emirates.
Okay.
Because Khaliji, which is like the Gulf region, is so different from anything Arab I've ever known.
Interesting.
Like, it's a very different, is
it the people that are, like, would you say,
the
like...
people, also, I think obviously the fact that they have access to the oil really is
Dubai
a
is
big...
known as, like... It's a very interesting, like, structurally and, like, architecturally speaking, like, it is very, like... like, marked as, like, luxurious and modern. And it's very different than, like, I guess, like, Morocco. Because you think of Morocco, you think of, like, this more like, old, like, historic...
That's the thing. So Marrakesh, there's a mosque that you can see from a lot of places. And it's called the Koutoubia. And it's one of a few sister mosques around the world. I think the one in Paris is actually one of the sister mosques.
Oh, interesting.
And then there's one in Sevilla, Spain. I think it's those three. Not sure. But the Koutoubia has other sisters. And it's our main monument in Morocco. Not in Morocco, in Marrakesh. But no building can be built higher than the Koutoubia.
Interesting.
In Marrakesh.
And that's like a law.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So for us, there are we have short buildings,
Yeah.
like 3 to 5 story kind of buildings. It's very rare that you see like a tall building in Marrakesh specifically. And with that, like going from like everything feeling grounding in a sense, there's not much above you, and it's very like, you don't have to look up, you look straight at people.
Which
for
is
me,
so nice.
For me, that's how it
refreshing.
is. It's when I'm on the street, I'm looking at the people, not like the
It's not like
buildings.
New York, where
Yeah,
it's like you're looking up. and,
exactly,
like,
or like you want to see like everything is, and also we use basically the same paint color across the whole city.
Oh my god, there's a school of children, guys.
Hi, kids.
Looking at the camera, I love it.
One day you'll be a filmmaker.
Maybe they will. Look at all of them.
But it's just so interesting going from that to like living on like the 13th floor, I think.
Yeah,
in Dubai.
that's a difference.
Like I would like just look down
Your
and
perspective, like literally, like the way you see the world. Oh my god, they're so cute.
and yeah. In Morocco, I think for me the people make up like are the big thing.
Yeah.
It's some of the biggest things you see, like perspective wise,
Yeah,
like
totally.
actual size. In Dubai, I felt so small.
Interesting.
Like the population is obviously larger, but you just feel so small. You feel like there's a million things going on around you, and like the highways are gigantic. There's a million cars no matter where you want to go. There isn't much like public transportation. In order to get to the metro, I would have to drive to the mall to catch and they don't go a lot of places.
Yeah.
So you just felt like you were in this like chaos. Like it just felt like just genuine like chaos all the time. Marrakesh is very laid back, very like go with the flow.
And
you know.
Consider like Marrakesh, like if you were to pick like a place on the map, like this is my home.
Oh, Marrakesh, 100%. Like I grew up there. I went to school there. That's where my family is. So if I had to like pick a home, I would say Marrakesh, but also that's where I was born.
Yeah.
It's where I was born. It's where I lived the longest.
Yeah.
Dubai was like just a little, just a little stop.
Do you think like, I mean, like thinking about like where we are now on this journey, like number one, like how did you get to Baret? Like because I mean the thing is like in Baret, for those who don't know, like we do have definitely a culture of like there's a couple of schools that are very much prominent in our cohort as a whole, like UWC.
Shout out to UWC. You guys are everywhere and nowhere.
I didn't know about you guys until I got here. But like I mean, like how did you get involved with
That's
Baret?
the thing. It's kind of funny because I feel like most people, I kind of calculated the other day, say 96.5, I think, % of people here knew someone prior to coming.
Yes.
I did
Eliana Robbins.
I did not know anybody. Like from before Baret.
Your school was like not on the
No, not only that, but like none of my schools that I've ever been at have someone at Baret. Like it was, and Dubai was at an international school. I don't think there's anyone here who lived in Dubai, but Marrakesh, I was at the American school. I went to a public school in Michigan. Like, it definitely is not one of like the feeders into Baret. But I actually found out about it because my mom's a college counselor. Yeah. And I think I don't really know how she found out about it, but I think she got an email like asking her to talk to her students about it from Zena. Shout out to Zena, because she's the one who literally gave me this opportunity. And I was looking at gap year programs because what happened was I took a gap year my sophomore year of high school. Okay. And then it didn't really count because I completed junior and senior year in a year this past year. By the time I was officially a senior was January of last year, which like complicated like the college process just because like people already knew where they were going or had their applications in and I didn't. And I was like, my first gap year technically did not count.
And why did you if I can ask, why did you take
the first gap year?
I mean, like in the middle of high school, like it is like I'm sure like a shift, like going back into it, and
it was a big shift. It was so I had left Dubai. My mom was still living there. I moved back to Morocco because my mental health was terrible. Yeah. And I had started an online schooling program because I was like, okay, maybe this will be better for me. But then I was like, it's really not. Like, it was terrible. But like, prior to Dubai, I did not appreciate Morocco for what it was. I wanted to live in the US. Every time we would go there in the summer, I'd pass by the high school that later became my high school I graduated from.
That's crazy.
And tell my mom, please leave me here. Like, let me live with my grandma. Just let me go here. And then I moved to Dubai, and I realized how special Morocco really is.
That's really awesome.
And it was a time period where I was like actually becoming a teenager. Like, I don't really feel like you're a teenager when you're 13. I feel like you're still kind of a kid. So at that time, I could fully like reflect on my childhood and realize how special and lucky I was to be a child in Morocco. And so that year, having it be a gap year and like not being in school and stuff, it really helped me like reflect on how special the country was to me. I got to go to parts I'd never been to before and everything. Also connecting with my family on a different level because I had a lot more free time. So it wasn't just having an after-school snack with my aunts. It was like, you know, and it was a very special year because I got to spend like my grandma's last few months with her. And she was like she's the glue to my family, essentially. She was my next door neighbor. Because I grew up in a building with just my family. Which is like a very unique experience.
But it shows how much, I guess, like you also like, I'm sure like even in this experience, like how much you can value a community. Yeah. Which is like, I think like that's the biggest thing I've taken personally from Baret is like I might not necessarily interact with the same people every single day, and I might not necessarily see everyone, but like there is this strong essence of like we are all experiencing this together.
Dina Alma was talking today about how like we react when we see each other after fellowship. Yeah. It's so real. Like even with people that you don't talk to every day when we're together in the like home base, you see them and you're like so excited to hear like what they experience. It's just so nice to have them back again in a sense. Like you feel like you're like your energy. It feels like literally like getting together with your family, like Christmas, like everyone comes, like that's what it feels like. You're just like everyone's back, everyone's like super excited to see each other. Like it just feels very homey. It definitely. The college like application process was kind of like has its like swing period, and I decided to take a gap year. I kind of like on a whim applied to the Fashion Institute in New York. Yeah. And then I'd gotten accepted to Baret, like signed a contract, and then FIT responded. And I kind of forgot that I applied, which is like very odd because I didn't think, but I just didn't think I ended up going through the application. Like I remember doing it, but it was like, oh, maybe I'll just wait. Yeah. But I apparently sent it. And got accepted, which is great. Congrats. I was sitting in bed one day and like checked my inbox and it was just there. I was like, oh, cool. So coming into Baret, I was like, okay, after Baret, FIT. Coming to Baret, I decided I don't really want to study fashion. I want to keep it a hobby because it's something that I love, but will I love sitting in the classroom being lectured about it? Yeah. I don't know, but also it's a very competitive and a lot of times toxic environment to work in. So right now I'm kind of like feeling out my options, and with the recent election, I've kind of geared away from looking at the US. Just because that's not where I see myself, and right now Europe is pretty accessible. Being an American, it's less accessible as a Moroccan. It's more affordable, and the programs are shorter. Programs are shorter, which means even with a gap year, I'd be finishing in a 4-year time period like my peers. But then also just like morally speaking and in terms of safety, like both mental, emotional, and physical safety, I think Europe is more suitable for me right now. Do I know what I want to do? Not really. But you're one step ahead, you know where you want to be, which is, I think that's half the battle, honestly. So I'm applying to a few different programs, and like I'm not kind of like putting any limits onto what I'm willing to apply to. Like if I apply to a business program and like something to do with politics, I'm fine with that. Like I feel like I'm a strong believer in everything happens for a reason. So wherever I end up, I will be happy. I love that. That's nice. I mean, I think like having that, like the reassurance of yourself is like, that is like really, it is, if you don't have that, then what do you have in general? And also like talking to all these morning program speakers, like a lot of them have had like such a diverse background in terms of like switching what they want to do. Like what they studied has nothing to do with what they're doing now. And for me, it was very like hard to understand that. Growing up, I was like, you have to go to school for one thing and that's what you have to stick to. You cannot like move around. But then I look at my mom. She studied like international relations. She is a college counselor. Like you don't have to stick to one path at all. It's helping so many people in different ways. That's the thing. And like that's something that I'm accepting is like I can go to school and decide midway through I want to switch what I'm studying or start a job, decide I want to do something else, go back to school whenever I want. Like totally. You don't stop learning. You don't. And even like just with us, with our like self-exploration in the afternoon, you're learning so much. Like even if it's just like learning how like certain people interact in a different country, like, you know what I mean, like in terms of just socially.
Yeah.
Like in France, you're not going to be on the street screaming or like speaking loudly. Just those little things make you like.
The subway is quiet here. The metro is quiet,
The-
which is really one of the first things I noticed here.
In New York, everyone's like having conversations
very
and like
chaotic.
whatever. The metro here is kind of peaceful,
Yeah. No,
and
it
it's
is.
like just seeing these things, you pick up on them, and it kind of makes you reflect. It's like it's not even like people are not like screaming in the street. Oh, I can never scream in this. It's just like,
it's a different kind of.
what is the point of what you know what I mean? It's like
Totally.
you just see it in a different light, and that is learning in itself.
Yeah.
So I think with Baret, it's very nice knowing that you don't need to have a textbook.
And that's the thing is I don't know. I think like I guess if you had if you had to like kind of condense what you've learned so far into like a piece of advice, like do you like think you have one like for yourself or like or you're pulling out a notebook, girl?
No, this is all of my advice
I love
that
that.
I picked up on. Like this is like, I knew I wanted to start journaling when I came to Baret, but
You
I
journaled.
thought I journaled. I thought it was gonna be like one journal for
Yeah.
the year, but I'm realizing this is part 1, and then I'm gonna start part 2,
I
maybe
love
part
that.
3. I don't really know. But what I'm doing is collecting all my advice and things I'm learning for myself later, but it's for my kids
Yeah.
mainly, just because I think it's nice having like more digestible pieces.
Totally.
And like
something to reflect on.
being 18, like you're an adult but you're not really, but people expect you to act like one, but also
You're 18.
not act like an adult because
Yeah.
you're, you know, and it's just like such a weird time that I feel like there was kind of like a guide of like how to survive, like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, like your opinions don't matter because you're still a child, but
But you need to
you
have
need to be
them
an adult.
because- yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like your opinions
Totally.
don't matter, but you are voting. So
Yeah.
your opinion does matter. And like things like that it's just like so contradictory. And
Yeah.
it's like, what do you want me to do? Like,
And like,
I
how
just-
do you digest all this?
So that's kind of my goal. It's kind of like this journal's for myself because it helps me reflect a lot, but it's also for like kind of whoever wants it. Like not forever. I want it on my bookshelf, but like
Yeah. Maybe
whoever
you'll publish
needs
it.
it.
Maybe you'll
I don't
write
know.
something. Who
Maybe.
knows?
But like whether it's my cousins when they're growing up, like
Yeah.
have them use it, like if it's for my kids, like whoever. I'm not saying I give good advice, but it's my experience. You know what I mean? And if you
special.
relate to even one thing, that's better than not knowing what to do in that situation.
Do you like? I guess like really quickly. Like, where do you see yourself? I would like looking in the future. Like let's say like 10 years. In like 10 years from now, where do you see yourself?
Age 28. Hopefully with kids. Hopefully home-based Marrakesh.
I love
But
it.
I'm honestly hoping I marry someone that is not Moroccan or like Moroccan mixed with something, so we have like somewhere else to like call home.
Yeah.
Just because like for me it was fun. My mom's American, spend the summers there. My dad's Moroccan, home based
Yeah.
there. Yeah, but in
Oh my
terms
God,
of like,
this kitchen does not have a foot.
oh no,
That was really
oh that's
sad.
really sad,
Our
and it has
friend-
a thing.
Yeah.
Oh no. Oh, okay.
Goodbye.
Bye bye. In 10 years, I do not want to be that picture.